Welcome to Chats with Chantla. I'm the host, Chantla Israel. I'm here tonight with the beautiful Tiffany Burgess. She's also known as the Vintage Lady. So thank you all for joining in. I cannot wait to get this conversation started. So Tiffany, how are you doing this evening?
I am well. I am so well. Thank you so much for having me on. I am so privileged and honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, I am so happy that you said yes. And with that yes came, the opportunity to get to know you more, get to
Yes.
know who you are. So we are going to be talking all things passion, purpose, and business. So
Yes.
Tiffany is, you know, an entrepreneur, but it's so much deeper than an entrepreneur. So it's so exciting that we're doing this conversation because I think a lot of people are going to get a lot of good tips, get
Hmm.
encouraged, be inspired, be
Yes.
motivated to do so much. And Tiffany, I'm just so excited because when we agreed to do this collaboration, I was like, okay, what nuggets am I going to learn from her? There's so many gems that you have. So I'm so grateful that you decided to do it and that you are doing it. So if you're just now joining, we are here back with a new season of Chats with Chantla. We have Tiffany Burgess, and she is also known as the Vintage Lady. You'll understand why she is the Vintage Lady a little bit later in the conversation. But I want to get started by just asking Tiffany, is are you someone who has always liked to thrift?
So, yes, I'll say yes. I've always liked to thrift. I didn't know it was thrifting at first. My mom always was a discounted shopper. So, if you compare to that, I always knew that I just wanted to get something discounted and I can find great finds at a discounted price. So that did come over to learning how to thrift or starting to thrift, even from, experiencing that with my mother.
Yes, I love thrifting, but we're going to learn so much more about her thrifting journey again, her passion, her purpose, and then her business. So if you're joining in and you have a comment, just go ahead and put in the comment section. We'll make sure that we just give a little shout out to you. And if you have a question for our featured guest, make sure you put that in the comments and we can also
Yeah.
get that and ask her that question on your behalf. So, also, do you find that thrifting is a difficult task to do?
I think for some, for me, no, because it really calms me down. It's like my therapeutic time. But for some people, they say it's difficult. Just the shopping, going through sometimes it's bins or going through all of the racks, it's like difficult for them. But
Mhm.
for me, it really is therapeutic. I love to find things. I love to come across something that I didn't see at first or stumble upon a great jacket or a nice shirt and it's one of a kind. So it's like
Mhm.
you're really getting a jewel when you go thrifting.
Absolutely. And do you think maybe one of the difficulties for people is because there's so much, or they have a misconception of what the thrifting
Mm,
experience is or what it should be? Because I know when I see all those racks, sometimes it's just like, oh my gosh, this is so overwhelming. Like, how am I going to
yes.
find anything? Because sometimes the thrift stores or the consignment shops don't have an order. Things are
Hmm.
just placed everywhere. So that itself can be intimidating. So do you feel like
Yeah.
that may be a reason why sometimes thrifting is a difficult thing to do?
I do. I do. I think some people have an idea of when they go shopping, they go with an idea in mind. Like, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get that. You really got to have an open mind with thrifting and shopping because you never know what you'll find.
Mhm.
You'll come across amazing things. Like, really, you'll come across anything. And so, jackets, skirts, like, you sometimes have to dig even to find what you're looking for. So sometimes people say it's difficult because you do have to go looking. You do have to search through some racks and some piles, sometimes even some bins,
Yes.
to really find good treasures.
I love, sometimes I think the excitement of finding something is one of the
Yes,
reasons why I enjoy it. But at first it was kind of challenging. It was a little bit of a difficult task to do, but once you get the hang of it, you get the hang of it. Like you said, you have
yes,
to come into thrifting with an open mind. So I think
yes,
that is a huge tip for people to understand that
yes,
you can't go there like you're going to a department store, like you've seen
Right.
it in online or you've seen it in a
Right.
magazine. That's not the same thing. What it
Yeah.
is thrifting, but it's definitely not the same thing.
Definitely an
Um,
open mind. Definitely an
Absolutely.
open
If you
mind.
don't have an open mind and you go there, you're going to be like, oh my gosh. And you might walk right back out because you're going to be
Yes.
overwhelmed. But
Yes.
there are some of us, and you stated that learned to thrift it and always were a thrifter. And it came from your relationship that you built with your mom about saving money and thrifting. But
Hmm.
how long would you say you've been thrifting, like as like an avid thrifter?
I would say for like 10 years.
Oh,
It all started because I worked at a thrift store. So from that experience, I've been thrifting for almost 10 years. Almost 10 years.
wow. And so, in that experience of 10 years, like what I can imagine some of the jewels that you've come across.
Yes. I have inquired a lot of stuff. Like
Mhm,
that's why now this is what Vintage Lady is. This is what my business is.
mhm,
Well, my and I'll say my ministry. But I have come across just all types of dresses, beautiful gowns, shirts. I also, when I was going into corporate or working for businesses, you know, jackets and suits, and they were at a discounted price. I mean, a cheap price. So I have come across a lot of things for regular day, for church, for work.
mhm.
It's like it's endless. You can find whatever you want. Really, you
Yeah,
can
I
find whatever you
agree.
want and put it together.
Definitely. I love the blazers. I love to, no, I didn't get the blazer I have on from a thrift store, but I did get it off a clearance rack. So I'm still finding that bargain. But do you feel that your thrifting came out of a necessity or it came out of curiosity?
Well, I will say both. Definitely both. The necessity was I was a college student when I first
Mhm.
started. So, you know, you shopping on a budget and then you also want to be cute. You also want to, you know, show your expression, especially in my early 20s. I wanted to show my expression and be different. But then I also needed to budget. And then curiosity came because I could definitely put together different things that I didn't see anybody else wearing or that I didn't come across in a department store or online. It was definitely a unique thing. So I just wanted to find more unique items that I could wear and make it my own.
Yeah, I love that because I agree with you. That when you do go to the thrift stores and you have the
Yes,
patience to look and find, you will find something that helps you stand out and
yes,
helps be creative. I love the
yes.
way that because it's not a department store, so you do really have to take your time and find pieces and put things
Hmm.
together to make it your personal style for you. And I think
Yes.
that it complements that because I'm like you, I want to stand out and a lot of times when you go to department stores, you have a higher chance of having a piece that you're going to see on somebody else
Yeah.
because it's a department store, it's
Yeah.
trendy, things like that.
Hmm.
And I don't know about you, but I always want to look like it's one of a kind piece. It's
Hmm.
something that I is an original piece to me. And thrifting is definitely where I find that. I find a
Yes.
lot of those things through thrifting. So I
Yeah.
love that. I love that, you talked
It
about.
definitely opens up your creative side. Like you can mix and match. I'm sorry, you can mix and match different items.
Yes.
So it definitely helps you be creative. You can take scarves and make them into head wraps, or
Mhm.
make it as a skirt. It's endless. It's
Yeah.
endless. You can even take an item and cut it up and make it into another piece. Like
Wow.
if you like sewing, if you like putting two things together that you got to make something different, it really opens up your creativity.
I love that because now the sewing part, I'm not saying that I'm good at, but I definitely would probably go to an
I'm working
expert
on
and be like, can
it.
you do this for me? Because there are some pieces that you really find a great piece. It may be too big
Hmm.
and you have to get it tailored or you want it shorter or longer, however, take the hem out. There are a lot of ways that
Yes.
you're able to do that. So if you're just now joining in, thank you for watching. Welcome to Chats with Chantla. I'm Chantla Israel. I have the amazing Tiffany Burgess, and she is also known as the Vintage Lady, and she is talking all things passion, purpose, and business. So we're talking about her passion for thrifting, but you're going to see throughout this conversation how that passion turns in or aligns with her purpose that also generated a business for her. So if you're tuning in, make sure you put any comments that you have, any shout outs that you want. to shout out. And if you have a question for our featured guest, the vintage lady, make sure you put it in the comments and I'll make sure to get that to her. But we're going to continue this amazing conversation. And the next thing I want to ask you, Tiffany, is how do you benefit from shopping or thrifting? How do you feel that thrifting is a benefit to you?
Well, it's definitely been a benefit to my business because over time I have acquired a lot of items. I have dresses, shirts, skirts, shoes. I mean, you name it. I have a lot of stuff. Just going to different thrift stores, working there. So it's helped grow my business. It's
Mhm.
helped give me inventory. It's also, still with the expression, just being different, standing alone, and then finding those pieces that I can, give to people. People can purchase from me, finding unique, separate pieces that you may not find in a department store. So it really has helped build my business and my ministry.
I love that. And I just want to say, because we all know this amazing person, and we're just going to allow her to shout us out. It's Kristen. And hi,
Hey,
my loves. Thank you so much for
hey.
supporting and tuning in, Kristen. I think you're an amazing person. And actually,
Yes,
Kristen is how I connected to Tiffany. So shout out to
yes.
Kristen for this
Thank you,
huge connection.
Kristen.
Thank you so much for joining in. So if you have any questions for our featured guests, make sure that you put them in the comments and we'll make sure to get that up to her, because I know I had a lot of questions about thrifting and how it aligned with her purpose. And now it's become a business for her. So if you continue to watch, you're going to see how that all connects together. But then alignment to her purpose is what you really want to hear about, because it is a beautiful story to the journey that where she's at right now. And it continues to grow and how it's nourishing, flourishing, and extending to other people. So Tiffany, it's you are so many dimensions. So I would never want to
Yes.
put you in a box. I would never want to say, oh, yeah, she only does this one thing. So the more we started to converse, it was just there was so much that I was learning and being inspired by you. So I definitely want to let you know that I was so inspired by your story. It
Thank you.
motivated me to want to dig a little bit deeper and make sure that what I was doing that was, a passion for me definitely was aligning with my
Hmm.
purpose. And then
Yeah.
if it turned out to help like flourish a business, that's a plus. But to align with my
Yeah.
purpose is a beautiful thing. So I
It's
love
a
how
beautiful thing.
thrifting is aligning with your purpose. And again, we're going to get to that, but we're talking a little bit about how Tiffany got into thrifting, how she just loves doing it. So it's a passion of hers, and how it's extending past this passion into her purpose. But Tiffany, also, would you say that thrifting, and you've already said it earlier, but this is how we're going to get a little snippet of how it is aligning with your purpose. Do you feel that thrifting is helping you align with your purpose in life? And if so, how?
Yes, definitely. So literally, when I started thrifting, it opened me up. Especially, I was bigger and I lost some weight, so I had all of these items that I really couldn't wear anymore. And then I gained weight, and then some of it was too small. So I had all of these creative things, all of these nice things, and I was like, "Well, what am I going to do with it?"
Mhm.
And that's really how it connected to my purpose, because I was giving outside of myself. All of the things that I had inquired, I was giving to other people. And people started wanting to, like, oh, I love your shirt, or I love your skirt. Where did you find it? And so then it connected to, well, I like to thrift. And this is where I got it from, the thrift store. But then it opened me up to also start talking to women and started telling them about their inside as well
Mhm.
as helping them with their outside. So that's really how Vintage Lady began, just giving and selling and doing some shopping with people, with women. And then it just opened up where I could now kind of minister and talk to them and encourage them from what I've experienced.
I love that. And I can't wait any longer. I want everyone who is viewing and watching and supporting Chats with Chantla with the amazing Tiffany Burgess. I want them to know, because like I know people are curious, because I'm curious. Give me, well, I heard it, but I want them to hear, like, how did the name the Vintage Lady come about? Like, I love how you expressed it to me, and I just want everyone to hear this beautiful story. So, lay it on us. How did you get the Vintage Lady?
So really, I tell everybody, it was the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit gave me the Vintage Lady, but He kept telling me, even as I've just been developing and becoming who I am, He always was working on me to really understand who I was.
Mhm.
And what is it about the inside? Yes, you're beautiful on the outside and you can express, but who are you on the inside? And so Vintage Lady is more than just thrifting, but it's really, who are you? Are you virtuous? Are you intelligent? Are you noble? Are you
Mhm.
talented? Are you accessible? Are you giving? And that all makes you excellent. So that is what Vintage Lady is. It's building the inside of a woman to become that and be that in and out.
I love it because when I heard it, I immediately thought of class and elegance. So when
Yes.
you were expressing, I was like, oh my gosh, that is so good because, I stated the other day, I know a lot of people that are pretty on the outside, but they're ugly on the
Ooh,
inside. And so
that's the
eventually
truth.
that from the inside comes out and you start to see it. And
Yeah.
on the inside, you start to see it on the outside. So there are a lot of pretty people or a lot of well dressed people, but
Mhm.
their
Mhm.
insides are just like
Yeah.
make them very
Yeah.
unattractive, make them very, you don't want to converse with them, you don't want to engage with them, you don't want to be
Mhm.
connected or associated with them. So when you
Definitely.
say that, it is so important to be concerned with your inner health, and
Yes.
that's what keeps you healthy, that's what keeps you
Yes.
flowing, that's what keeps you, beautiful. Sometimes you'll look at somebody and they'll just have a sweatsuit on, you're like, that is the most gorgeous person, and it's
Yes.
because of that
Because of the
inside.
inside.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so I
And
love
even in
that
just the
reminder.
expression, yeah, the expression makes even what you put on, because of the inside being healed and because you're really knowing yourself.
Mhm.
Yahweh, and that's God, but he always keeps reminding me, like, what you put in is always going to come out, just like you said. So
Yeah,
even in what you wear, what's inside will also come out in what you wear, how you express, how you
right.
move. It's all one. And sometimes we miss it because, we just think that we got to worry about the outside, but the inside is very important. It's very
Absolutely.
important.
And I love how all of this comes full circle because, when you think about the vintage lady, you're thinking like, oh, maybe she does thrift, maybe she does do,
Hmm.
and she loves vintage things. But when you think of it, and then when you hear really how it connects and really what it means, if I was a woman hearing that for the first time, I would probably be blown away. And then I would probably help me reevaluate where I am and where I want to
Yeah.
be. And so to be able to be around and be that an encouragement because of the explanation of how you look at yourself as the vintage lady is so much
Yeah.
deeper. It's not a surface thing, it's much more deeper.
Yeah.
But I love how
Yeah.
it connects to, one of the reasons why you thrift. So I want to get back to understanding more about thrifting. My next question is, how do you know when you found a good thrift store?
So I was thinking about this when we were talking, and I I really was like, you know, I think I have a better answer for this because I love a thrift store that has my favorite store in it, which is Target. So some thrift stores you can go and you can find that they have other department stores, or they um get items from Target or Walmart. So for me, if you find somewhere where it has items that you really love, like for
Mhm.
me it was Target. Like Target items, their fishnets, their stockings, their tights, they had boatloads of it. So that's
Wow.
what became my favorite thrift store. But I think you always are gonna hit and miss sometimes.
Mhm.
But it really depends on even the area, or like who's in the area and who's giving to that thrift store.
Wow. Yeah.
So you might find more items that maybe fit you and fit your career or fit your lifestyle. So
Mhm.
that's what makes it a good thrift store for you.
I never thought of that until you just said it, is the area you're in and who's
Yes.
donating. That has a
Hmm.
huge influence on what you're going to find.
Definitely.
Never once did I even think about that. Like, if you're in a community that like, oh, I wouldn't dress like some of these people, or they don't have a lot of influence in regards to fashion, well, it's probably
Yeah.
going to show up in the thrift stores that you go to,
Definitely.
that you may be discouraged
Definitely.
or feel like you're not represented in that thrift store.
Hmm.
So I never really thought about that.
Yes.
It is a really a community based establishment. It really is that.
Yes.
Like, it's
Yes.
really fed by the
Yes.
community. So if you're just now joining in, I'm Chantla Israel. I'm the host of Chats with Chantla, and we're here with the amazing Tiffany Burgess, and she's also known as the Vintage Lady, and we're talking all things passion, purpose, and business. So right now we're talking about her love for her passion for thrifting and how it aligns with her purpose. And you're going to see how she turned that into a beautiful business. But I have another thought, because I think about this and I'm like, should you or shouldn't you do it? What do you feel, if it's a good thing or a not so good thing, about befriending staff at a thrift store? Do you think that's a positive thing to do, or not?
So at first I would say no, but I think organically you start developing friendships or, conversing with the people that you see in the thrift store, especially if you go to one regularly. So like if this one that you really love and you're there every Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, or their discount days, Wednesdays, discount days, then you're probably gonna, be friends with those that are working there. So it
Mhm.
kind of happens organically. And then they start to know like when you're coming or what you typically look for or what you like. So yeah, it definitely develops a friendship.
I agree, because would frequent thrift stores to the point where they're like, "Oh, we put new Zara out," because they knew that that's what I was coming to the thrift stores for. So it did get where I didn't have to ask. They were kind of like,
Yeah.
that customer, and so when they would say that, I'd like just straight line it right there, and because I walk in looking like, okay, do I see anything new? So yeah, I think organically that is probably the best way, instead of you like going in
Hmm.
there like, so
Yeah.
what's in the back, like I
They
think
probably
that
gonna
would
look
be
at
a
you like,
lot.
what? No,
Yeah,
yeah,
that would
what?
be like, geez, did you come, like, geez, is that why we're saying hello? So
Right.
yeah, I definitely think the organic way of developing a friendship
Yes.
is better than going there with the intentions of finding someone so you can have an inside link
Yes.
to thrifting. But also, then I think the other question that maybe for our younger audience or younger viewers, and even anyone, but do you feel that you can find current fashions at thrift stores?
Yes, I do. And speaking of even the area, I think that it kind of goes with current fashion, depending on the area or where the store is located. You can find current fashions.
Mhm.
I found, Steve Madden or different things. Definitely Fashion Nova. I find that a lot
Mhm.
in thrift stores because people are still giving,
Right.
when they do spring cleaning or when they doing trying to get rid of some stuff for Christmas to replace, so
Right.
or old things. So I think definitely you find current fashion.
Yeah, I think why I think that you can find current fashions, because fashion repeats itself.
Yes,
So it's gonna come
that's
back
true.
around. So what you're like, that is too vintage for me, or that's not something for me, it's gonna come back around. And when we were talking, I was like, what I was shocked by is like in the warmer weathers, windbreakers were like a huge thing,
Yes.
at least for me. And so when I
Uh-huh.
was going to the thrift stores and I was finding windbreakers, I felt like I was hitting the jackpot, because I was like, this is something. But it made me also feel like when I was like in, very young, and then also like high school, I was like, I
Hmm.
remember wearing windbreakers, but now it was like this huge thing. So men and women were wearing windbreakers. So it was a fashion that, was coming back, and it might have been old and it was now current, because fashion repeats itself. And then too,
Yeah.
current, like when I think about current fashion, you could stay in current fashion, or you can just be an individual and you're always
Yeah.
going to find something fashionable at the thrift store,
Yeah.
because you're shopping for your own personal style. So if you're
Definitely.
viewing and you have a question for our expert in thrifting, make sure you put it in the comments and I'll ask on your behalf. But thank you so much for joining and viewing our episode of Chats with Chantla with Tiffany Burgess. So Tiffany, here's another question. Some people may laugh when they hear it, but I want to know, do you think that thrift stores have a smell? And if so, what do you think they smell like?
I definitely think they have a smell. Definitely. And they all smell alike, which
Hmm.
is very, very weird. But they all smell alike. And I think I technically don't know what I would say it smells like, but I know because of the storage and like everything goes
Hmm.
into one bin, especially working there. Once it comes in, they place
Yeah.
it in, bins and totes. So maybe it has that bin tote smell
Hmm.
because they all really coincide. They smell the same. I've never went in a thrift store and was like, oh, it smells like roses in here. They all have kind of like the same smell. So, but I don't know what I would say exactly it smells like.
Hmm.
Maybe boxes, like
Hmm.
a box.
Absolutely. And so I believe that they also have a smell. And what I think they smell like, I think they smell like addicts. At least
Yes.
to me. They smell like
Yes.
addicts. And probably it is because it's storage. And I don't want to use the
Mhm.
word, but the best way to describe it is they kind of smell stale to me. So sometimes when
Mhm.
you walk in, and don't be discouraged by that. You're going to probably smell
No,
that in most thrift stores because, like
all of
Tiffany
them.
said, they're in boxes, they're storage. People may have
Yeah.
stored them for a very long time, but or the once it gets to the establishment and they're sorting it, it may be the warehouse. But don't be discouraged by that, because the follow-up question is going to tell you why you should not be discouraged by the smell of a thrift store. And that is because my question, Tiffany, do thrift stores wash clothes before they sell them?
No, they do not wash clothes. Not at all. So once it's sorted, put in a bin, and they put it out. So you're getting how it was given. That's how you're getting it.
Right.
But it's definitely some ways around that I've since thrifting that I had to learn just to take care of the items that I get or that I find, or when I'm bringing it home, like what to do with it, so that if I don't exactly want to wash it right away, or I want to wear it soon or something, I can at least spray it. So I
Yeah.
made a concoction where it's some
Share with us that
lavender.
concoction. We all
Yeah.
want to know. We all
So I
need help.
love essential oils. I love essential oils. I love lavender. I just have it in my house all the time. So I took
Mhm.
some lavender, and a little bit of water and a little bit of I was about to say not peroxide, a little bit of baking soda, and I put it in a spray bottle. And I usually spray the item down, pants, jacket, or whatever it is, and I hang it up for a little bit just to get the odor out before I
Yeah,
wash it, before I take it to the cleaners, because sometimes things you got to take to the cleaners. So I
absolutely.
usually spray it down and at least get that smell out, and hang it up.
I love that. So Crystal is watching and she said, Tiffany, that is a great idea. I think it's a
Yeah.
great idea as well, because I never thought about essential oils. I just sanitize the clothing by putting it in my concoction, which is water, baking soda, vinegar, and a little bit of dish detergent,
Hmm.
normally Dawn. But I definitely will be adding the essential oil because it
Yeah.
that is, and it's a disinfect. It gives a nice
Yes.
smell, and it
Hmm.
does all the things that you're
Yes.
talking about. So I love the
Yes.
peppermint. I'll probably be using lemongrass,
Yes.
but I love the essential oil idea. I think that is a perfect idea. You should want to wash your clothes, not only because they have
Yes.
a smell, but you don't know how long it's been stored, who has worn it.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah.
for health reasons, if you go to the thrift store, you should want to definitely
Yeah.
um, wash the clothes out. But the other thing, back to when we asked what it smelled like, Kristen said it does smell like storage. Her
Yes.
experience is that the thrift stores do smell like storage. I definitely will say that. And then Crystal said, not to be funny, but they smell like feet, but she still loves going into thrift stores. And it's
That's the
hilarious.
shoes part, definitely. And for the shoes, because sometimes you want to try them on in the store. So I
Mhm.
always take my little sock, like
Right.
I carry my sock because I don't want to put my feet in it, but I carry my sock. And then I also spray them down.
Hmm.
And sometimes I soak, like if I'm able to take out the part in the shoe, the bottom part in the shoe, I'll soak that and clean it or scrub it. So
Hmm.
yeah, definitely that smell comes from probably the shoes.
Absolutely. So it's funny, but it's so true. But we do have a question for you, Tiffany, and I just want to bring it up on the screen. And Kristen wanted to know. She said, without sounding too spiritual, do you pray over your newly thrifted items?
Yes, Kristen, listen, yes, I do. And that's a part of it. Once I spray it down, I also pray over it. Even before
Mhm.
I put it in my wash machine, because I believe that it holds, clothes can hold spirits, it can hold things. So I definitely pray over it, even when I'm spraying it down before I put it in the wash machine. And even when I put it on,
Mhm.
I definitely do pray over it. Yes.
I love that. So if you don't do it, you
Sometimes you gotta
should.
take a little anointing oil too. So
Yes. And so, just to get a little bit deeper for someone who may not understand why you're praying it, it's because they may be like, well, I don't understand that. I may not have the same type of relationship with God as they do. What is the reason why, Kristen? Thank you so much for that beautiful question. But why is just, you don't have to go too deep for us, but Tiffany, why do you feel that that is important to do?
well, I think that sometimes, well, items can hold. just like it holds odors, just
Mhm.
like it holds smells. It can also hold people's energy, and I'll say energy, or in other words, spirit.
Mhm.
And so praying over it is just releasing whatever, whomever was attached to that item once I, before I received it.
Mhm.
I don't know what they could have been into. I don't know even at the time that they were wearing it, what they were doing.
Yeah.
Um, so sometimes it's just protecting because it's going on my temple. So
Mhm.
I'm just praying anything that's connected or was connected to this item that it's not anymore. And now I'm taking ownership of it. And so I play purity over it, cleansing
Mhm.
anything that's attached or on it. Um, and I think you should not even just thrifting. I think any clothes, because you don't know when you go to a department store too, like,
Right.
who tried it on before you or who made it. So
Yeah.
I just think it's just to keep you aware um, of what you're putting on yourself. So
I
anything
absolutely.
attached to it, it can be gone.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And Crystal, but thank you so much for that question, Kristen, and thank you for that beautiful response, Tiffany. But Crystal said that my sister-in-law uses fabric softener liners, which is also a great idea. And she also said that she loves praying, loves the idea of praying over the clothes now. And she said that
Yes,
she's going to start doing that. So
yes,
I think that is so amazing. I think that is a beautiful thing, and it's a great practice to do. And
yes,
Kristen's response to that, to your response, is she loves that. And I think it's so true too, because it's definitely something, that a lot of times we think, oh, it's only a certain place that, prayer is,
hmm,
is needed. No, it's everywhere. So,
everywhere.
like I
Yes,
pray before I go into the thrift store that I find something,
yes,
so let alone, let me pray over what
yes,
I'm bringing home with me as well.
yes.
So I love that. And
Oh, can
Kelly,
I add something too? I'm
yeah,
sorry.
absolutely.
And I would even say, even when you pick up an item, like sometimes I also use my spirit to know if I need to buy it or
Mhm.
should I leave it,
Right.
because sometimes you might not need, or it might not be something that something you should leave behind. So I also pray for that
Right.
too, like, should I get this, or should I
Yes.
leave it? So
I do that often, because don't let it be on clearance, or don't let it be the tag that I can get it for 99 cents. I'm like, Lord,
yeah,
help me, because you go in there, you don't really need it, but you're like, it's only 99 cents. And then you
yeah,
get to the register and you're like,
yeah,
oh, $50. Like, okay, did I need 50 additional pieces? No, I didn't. So definitely prayer is needed in all
yes.
aspects of life, and definitely when it comes to thrifting as well. But Kelly, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you.
Hi, Kelly.
She actually was on the show last week, but she does have a question. She said, hi, lovely ladies. I'm someone who tends to buy timeless, plain basics and items, and I feel are versatile because I don't want to own a lot, and oftentimes I do not feel confident trying something bold. Any thrifting tips for someone like me? I absolutely love this question.
So I think first, starting with the basics, I start with basics. So a basic you can build upon.
Hmm.
So if you have a basic white top, button down top, or cami, basic pants or jeans, you can always add to that with a jacket, and it's interchangeable. So you can put
Right.
it with a jacket, you can put it with a sweater. So you just build upon pieces, especially when you go thrifting, something that stands out to you, like a jacket or a statement
Right.
piece. You might want to get maybe two of those. And then you build upon your base, the baseline of maybe a top, a white top, a black top, or, a solid color top. And then you just add those statement pieces, and then that can be different outfits that you have.
I absolutely love it. I love that response. I love this question. And why I love it so much is, like, timeless, plain basic items are exactly that. They're timeless. So they
Hmm.
transcend through anything. So when you're
Anything,
looking
yes.
at blacks and whites and neutrals, so tans and grays, that
Hmm.
is like a capsule wardrobe that you're building
Hmm.
off in navy. Because like you said, then you can add a pop of color. But
Yes.
those are like true things. Like I have so many white, black, and like blazers that it's just ridiculous how many I have.
Hmm.
I have very few color. But I love that, like you said, because you can add something to a basic. It's just like like a house. You can
Yep.
have a neutral palette in your house or decor, and then there's pops of color by seasons
Hmm.
or how you're feeling. You might
Yeah.
do green during the summer, you might do orange and reds during the fall. by just like pulling out different throw pillows or different curtains.
Mm-hmm.
So you can add on a neutral verse, like this pop of color that I have on, it could be easily popped. I have a white shirt underneath it. I don't have anything else, but I think that building on, like Tiffany said, Kelly, neutral pieces, just add pops of color. And it doesn't always have to be a piece of clothing. It could be your
Yes,
accessories.
belt.
Your
Yes,
accessories are
definitely.
a great,
Mm-hmm.
easy way to bring in something
Yes,
bold into your wardrobe without
yes,
changing the whole like
yes.
aesthetic of your wardrobe. So it could be a pop of color through, a purse or your pair or your
Mm-hmm.
shoes. So something like that. So it's like, okay, I can do this once in a while, once in a
I
while.
always say when I'm on my lives, I always say put a belt with it. I think
Yes.
that really I will get a belt and it really cinches things in and it really changes the outfit.
Hmm.
You can find, and the thrift store has boatloads of belts. I think people give belts away all the time. So they have, and then they have timeless belts like
Hmm.
big with statement belts,
I
colors,
agree.
gold, silver. You'll just find amazing, amazing belts. But
Yeah,
I definitely
and
put a belt with it.
I love that. And also to add to Kelly, like a response to Kelly is a lot of times we get inspiration from like designers. So
Hmm.
designer use that inspiration and go into the thrift store. So I don't know about you, Tiffany, but I actually will go into the thrift store and I'll have pictures of different
Yes.
like outfits that I want or different pieces that I want to find,
Hmm.
because sometimes you get overwhelmed and you'll go like off the beaten path of what you're there for and find something else. But I do, like, I'll find images and I'll have that on my phone. And then
Hmm.
I'll go and recreate that designer look based on what's
Yes.
in the thrift store. You're using your phone, just take a screenshot
Yeah.
and there's your guide to go in the thrift store.
Yes, I definitely do that as well. Especially if I'm going to like if I'm going out to a special occasion
Mhm.
and like I want to try something different. Pinterest, I love Pinterest. So
Yeah.
I usually go on Pinterest and find some pictures or to give me like an inspiration, give me an idea. And then I'll sometimes you don't get exact, but you can get as close. And
Yeah.
then you incorporate your own creative style and how you like to, rock. Like I like skirts. And so, and leggings. I'm a leggings person too. So
I'll have
sometimes
to keep that in mind.
if I like, if I see it has jeans, but I want to, change it up and do it with a legging, but have the same top, the same idea. So definitely seeing designers and, incorporating that from thrifting.
I love that because when I think about it, so many times, like I'll go to the thrift store and find something, and especially if I go into the men's department, I totally forget what I'm there for because then I get like go down a rabbit hole of like, oh, I want this blazer, oh, I want that blazer, because there's so many different colors and they have patches on the arm, and I'm like,
Yeah.
anything with the patch, I'm already it's bought, it's in the buggy, and so and I'm like, oh, is this even the color of the discount? It doesn't even matter, but but we have staple pieces that we look for in our
Hmm.
wardrobes, and our location can really define what staple pieces are current or what pieces that we may look for. And Crystal is all the way in Japan, and she
Oh my God.
said that a komodo is the staple piece there. And
Yeah.
I can't wait to have the privilege to be going into Japan
Yes.
someday as well. But
Yes.
I
Me
love
too.
that like, she lived in the States for, all of her life, and now she's international and she's in Japan. So I can just imagine the fashion that she sees. But
Hmm.
also when I think about komodos, they're not just black and white. They are
No,
beautiful fabrics,
beautiful
they're
colors.
beautiful
Yes.
designs and colors. And so like
Yes.
Crystal's watching, and thank you for so much for supporting Chats with Chantla. And we're here with the featured guest, Tiffany Burgess, and she is also known as the Vintage Lady. So thank you so much for joining, but also with these comments and questions geared to get more tips and direction from our featured guest on thrifting, on clothes, on her passion, purpose, and how it aligns with the business that she does. But I absolutely love this conversation and how engaged you are. So continue with the comments so that we get to Tiffany, and so I can get some experience from her as well. So the more that you ask, the more that we're learning as a group. So keep those questions coming. But Crystal, thank you, and I wish you had a picture to share too. So now I challenge you, Crystal, the next time you're out, you get pictures of the komodos and
Yes.
you put it on Facebook, and I'll share it with everyone. So just tag us and we'll make sure that everybody sees the beauty that you get to see on a daily basis being in Japan. But now I want to get more into the business aspect of how the vintage lady is aligned with the business and how that part of your purpose is now transcending into the business portion. So, as being an entrepreneur, tell me some of the highs of being an entrepreneur because everyone just thinks, oh, they're highs every day. They're great.
There are some highs. There are some highs. And I think the high for me being an entrepreneur is definitely being able to express in my own way and having
Mhm.
creative control, being able to really understand my vision and then allowing that to be what I create and how I create. Um, so the high is always just having that creative control and making sure that the
Mhm.
vision that Yahweh has given me is coming across. And I don't have to worry about, other things that may deter me from really the purpose of Vintage Lady.
I love that. So, share some of the lows.
I think some of the lows for me is time.
Mm,
So it's really much time. Sometimes, creatively or just trying to push your business and trying to make sure the vision is clear, that you're connecting with people. Sometimes time gets away from you and you're either moving too fast or you're moving too slow. So sometimes you got to find that medium.
mhm,
And so I do learn from those low moments when I feel like, oh, I need to put something out, but I don't feel creative. Or,
mm.
I need to do a live, but I'm tired.
Right.
Or, and even connecting it to, when people purchase, shipping and just understanding how to do it correctly.
Right.
And for people to get what they bought, and it's successful. They get it and they love it once they get it.
Yeah.
So just learning from those low moments.
Yeah. And what I heard a lot from the highs and the lows is like knowing yourself first and foremost.
Yes,
And then
yes,
it's gonna, be shown through the way you are an entrepreneur. So, and there are so many times where you're like, I don't want to do that. Like you said, I want to do the live. I don't feel like doing this. I'm tired, because most entrepreneurs, especially when you're a small business and you're starting out, you didn't leave your nine to
yeah,
five. You're
yeah,
also doing other
yeah.
things to bring in and support you financially. That it's not just, oh, okay, I just left my 9 to 5 and I'm now
Hmm.
successful. It takes time to
It
generate
does.
clients,
Yeah,
awareness, and then get yourself out there. So it's not
yeah.
the easiest thing to do. So thank you so much, Tiffany, for sharing the highs and lows of being an entrepreneur. But I also want to know, like, how did you get started? Like, what started you into entrepreneurship? I know we heard about your passion and your purpose, but how did you get started in business as an entrepreneur?
So really, I just went out on a limb,
Mm,
but I have been doing Vintage Lady on and off for some time, for maybe 3 or 4 years,
okay.
but it just wasn't consistent. And I lost my job early, like around August, and that was the Holy Spirit really trying to push me out
Hmm.
to, be consistent. And really, for all of the things that I have, to really get it out there and do ministry, but also, learn how to pursue it in entrepreneurship, and make it into a brand. So it really was me stepping out on a limb. I had all of these clothes. I mean, I had boatloads of clothes. I had dresses, shoes, and it was like, well, what am I gonna do with it? So
Right.
he provided me the items. So now it was just time for me to, sell it and to put it out there, and show the whole thing of the whole ministry, the whole brand of Vintage Lady.
I love that. I love that you actually were forced out to into
Yes.
your purpose, even more in a deeper way. And then with your entrepreneurship, you were just able to touch even more people because just think if you
Yeah.
would have just did it on a smaller scale and not do lives and not,
Hmm.
really put yourself outside your comfort zone, who knows like
That day.
who would have missed the opportunity to get to know you like me,
Yes.
and those
Yes.
who are watching and viewing and supporting you. I think
Yes.
that's great. And the other thing I think when we think about highs and lows and we think about, being a small business owner or being a new or even seasoned entrepreneur, it takes a lot to maintain positivity
Hmm.
as an entrepreneur.
It
How do
does.
you maintain being positive?
I really try to see the good in everything. With my faith, with my faith in Yahweh, knowing that He will provide and know that
Right.
He's with me. I really just sometimes we get into a place where we may complain or we may just
Mhm.
see that it's not going the way that we want it to go. So I try to look for the good. If I can find good in it, then that means that I can keep going. If I can
Right.
find and, go back within and find the purpose of it. And if I'm sticking to my purpose, then I know that it's good that's going to come out. All things work together for good. So I know that if I find it, then we can keep going. And so that keeps, my positive energy to know that I'm working, I'm growing. It's going to expand, but I have to
Mhm.
work that process
Absolutely.
and see it work out.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. It's not easy, like I said, to maintain being positive as an entrepreneur. And I think sometimes I think people forget that, when you become an entrepreneur of any level, like
Yeah,
last week, Kelly, she does adventures with Kelly. So she's sharing her adventures that she has as solo trips and family trips. And some people may say, oh my gosh, I would never do that. And then you're like doing it on your level of thrifting and inspiring and motivating. Not everything is for everybody. So you're going to get people who are complaining like, oh, that price, it's too high. It's a thrifted item, or that trip is too expensive. I would encourage you both to continue to do what you do, because
yeah,
you will build a clientele that is
yeah.
for you. And one of the reasons for this platform is people support not only what they're aware of, but who they like. So,
Mhm,
people support who they see themselves as being relatable to, connecting
mhm.
to, and so I love that. So I think it's deeper. Being an entrepreneur is deeper than being able to sell a product or provide a
Yeah,
solution to something. It's definitely, can I relate to you? Do I want to connect to you?
yeah.
What I want to support you? So all of that plays a part in the success of an entrepreneur, but also you can get very challenging customers. I like,
Yeah.
I gave the best advice on, something, and this is what they said they wanted on my live. And when they got it, they said they didn't want it anymore. So
Yeah,
those are challenging times. But if you
yeah,
still maintain positivity, and I think
yeah.
one of the reasons for that, and I hope you can agree, is when you do something that you would do for free, something you love to
Mhm.
do, and you're able to turn it into a business. Those
Yes.
types of times and those challenging clients and difficult customers um, don't seem as bad, because you're like, okay, this is what I like to do, and this
Mhm,
is why I do it.
mhm.
So, would
Yeah.
you agree with that?
I definitely would. I definitely would. And challenges are going to come. And so we just find a solution. People, agree, disagree, may not like
Mhm.
it, but challenges will come and we push past it because it is still a passion. It's still something I'm doing, not just for the money, but I'm
Right,
doing it because I want someone else to feel good, someone else to take that item and feel good in it. Just as well as feeling good inside. I want them to look pretty and, I want them
right.
to feel beautiful. So we just work through those. We work through those and we definitely keep a positive approach to it.
I love it, because I think that you kind of answered the next question, is how you stay motivated. And you said you love making
Yeah.
people feel pretty, not just on
Yes.
the outside, but also on the inside. I think that's amazing. I think that's a motivator, and it is definitely something that I think is a plus. You're not
Yes.
doing it for the money, definitely. But also in the times where it is challenging, or you feel like this is not something I want to do today, or this isn't what I even want to do tomorrow, you have those days. Where do you gain your strength to keep going?
It's Yahweh. It's prayer. It's my faith. Um, and it really is sticking with purpose.
Mhm.
Um, I know that I'm a vessel in the earth, and this is one way that He's allowing me to be that vessel. And I never want to miss out on a soul or miss out
Mhm.
on a connection. So it definitely keeps me motivated. It definitely keeps me encouraged to just keep going because my
Right.
faith is what is my foundation. It's
Mhm.
definitely my foundation, and my purpose comes through this. It comes through the
Right.
vintage lady. It comes through thrifting. Um, so that's definitely my faith and Yahweh.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And then I want to know, because everybody has a different definition for purpose, but what is your definition for purpose? Of purpose, I mean.
So So it definitely has changed over time because purpose is definitely what you're meant to do in the earth. But I really believe, and I've been taught this, that it's really through your experience. Like, what
Mhm.
have you experienced throughout your lifetime, and what now can you give back and give from your experience? What lessons have you learned? How did you grow from this point to that point? And that really becomes purpose, is your expression in the earth and your experience in the earth is
Mhm.
purpose to
I
me.
love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think a lot of people look at it and they think, oh, well, this is how I define it. But it's always great to hear another person's definition of purpose to see how it connects to you or you relate to that. So thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that. And when do you feel like you believe that you discovered your purpose?
For me, I think my purpose is evolving.
Hmm.
Um, I think you never know exactly your purpose until it kind of be like one day you wake up and be like, oh, this is what I'm meant to do.
Right.
And that can happen at any time. For me, it's happened a couple times, where at one point I thought that was my purpose. My purpose was to do this one thing. And then as I evolved, I said, oh no, this is my purpose. And then I
Right.
started moving in that direction. So I think in different moments you start to develop an understanding of who you are. Once you know who you are,
Mhm.
and once I knew who I was supposed to be, then I knew that I was connected to my purpose.
I love that. I love that. And anyone who's watching, thank you so much for supporting Chats with Chantla. We're here with the amazing featured guest, Tiffany Burgess. She is the vintage lady that we're talking all things passion, purpose, and business. But she just gave her definition of purpose. If you're joining and you want to comment on what you think purpose means to you, I would love to see it in the comments so that we could bring it up and just see how your thought process is when you're thinking about purpose in life. And that could be on so many different levels. So no, there's no wrong answer because purpose, like she said,
No.
is through life experiences. So how she defined purpose could be different from yours or could be very similar. So make sure you let us know what you feel about your definition of purpose. I would love to hear from you. And then Tiffany, as you combine your passion with your purpose, um, do you see that it's aligning the way that you feel like audit, like in aligning in a way that keeps you moving forward? Or do you think that it's subtracting from you? Do you think your passion is increasing your purpose, or do you think that it may be possibly being a distraction?
No, I think that my passions definitely aligns with my purpose. Once I started to understand all of my experiences coming
Mhm.
together, it really wrote its story. It's writing a story.
Right.
So my passion, even for thrifting, is connecting to my ministry of prayer, or intercessory prayer,
Mhm.
and like being able to tell my story or just tell my experiences to other people. Definitely the passion of that is connecting to women that I probably wouldn't, meet on a regular basis, but because they see my vessel, they
Right.
see, who I am, they're curious too. So they want to know more, or they're reaching out to buy some clothing, and then
Mhm.
they're getting my ministry, they're getting
Right.
me. So it definitely aligns and it connects.
Love that. And Crystal said how she defines purpose with her clients is that what would you do? Sorry, what would you do if you were not getting paid and still love it and you would still do it? We talked about this, Tiffany.
Yes,
Find purpose. Purpose is something I agree 100%, Crystal. I love that
I agree.
definition of purpose because if you don't love it,
Hmm.
you're gonna burn out. You're gonna burn out
Yeah,
because you're doing it for so many other reasons. And I think this
yeah.
is a perfect segue into the next question is that should someone monetize their purpose?
I think they should. I always say that once when you're doing your purpose, Yahweh always provides provision. And so you need provision, money, you need resources that helps you build to keep that purpose progressing and keep that purpose going.
Right.
So I definitely think that it's needed because you really do need provision to help you increase and to help you move forward.
Yeah. And Crystal said yes and yes to
Yes.
being able to monetize your purpose. And I
Yes.
think what this now makes me think about is when we think about thrifting and we think about, okay, these are donated items. So why are they
Hmm.
charging? Do you
Hmm.
think that charging for donated items is a good thing, or do you think it's not? Because I think this is a I believe I already know your response, but this is a conversation I think people I've heard it. when I'm in the thrift
Yeah.
stores. They're like, why are they charging
Yeah.
this much? It's donated. It's given to
Yeah.
them or something like that. So how do you feel about donations having a cost?
Well, that's what I do. So, reseller is definitely, donations sometimes, or even things that I have of my own or I've bought. So I think that, yeah, why not? Someone is giving of their items that they don't have any use for. So
Mhm.
why not? That company, that thrift store is really paying for the place, paying for someone to
Yeah.
bring those items to resell. Um, so I don't see a problem with it. I really don't.
Yeah. So, for our viewers, anyone who's out there and they're watching, place in the comments, how do you feel about donations being having a cost? Do you agree with that? Do you disagree with it? How do you feel about it? I would love to hear your feedback and share with Tiffany. So, do you feel that donations should have a cost to it, or should they just be donations that you should be able to get them for free? And a two part to that is, do you feel like some of the donation, like the cost of items in thrift stores, are more expensive than or cost more than you feel that they should cost? So, think about that and leave us some
Yeah.
comments. I would love to hear some feedback.
And
I'm
also
curious.
another thing, even like organizations like I know like Goodwill, those organizations also are helping other resources from what people donate. So when you donate your clothes and they sell them, it's going back to help employ other people that have been incarcerated, that were homeless. So it's not just to just resell and buy the item and then
Yeah,
they take it. But it's also putting to another cost. Really, that's a lot of thrift stores, even
I love
Savers,
it. Yeah.
Savers. Different thrift stores have other organizations or LLCs that they're connected
Mhm.
to that they give back to.
Yeah.
So the money isn't just going to, nothing.
Yeah.
It's also replenishing someone else and helping someone else.
I love that. So Kristen must have felt that in her spirit, because when you were
Oh,
talking, she had already put it in
see.
the comments, and she said that she believes that a lot of the thrift stores also put some of the money towards good causes. And you're 100% right. If you go into a Salvation Army, when you hear music playing, but when you hear people talking, those are testimonies
Hmm.
that how their life has changed because of the donations and the money you spend in Salvation Army. They've been addicted to drugs. They've been, incarcerated. They've lost their families. They've been
Yes.
homeless. So that money just doesn't pay for salaries. It doesn't pay for the building. It doesn't pay for the establishment. It doesn't pay just for staff and trucks. It actually is money that is being used to change the
Hmm.
lives of those who need the Salvation Army and need the Goodwill and need these other type of thrift stores. So you also have to think, when someone's reselling an item, that's also a business, but it's also helping a cause. And the cause is that person. It's not always just
Yeah.
like pocket money. It's
Yeah.
also fueling them to have a roof over their head, to pay their bills, to have food to eat.
Hmm.
So it's just
Yes.
like going
Yes.
to a
Yes.
department store, a
Yes.
big box store like a Walmart, a Target, an
Yeah.
H&M, Nordstrom's, all of those stores. And we're not even talking about designer labels yet. We're just talking
Hmm.
about smaller department stores. And you're paying for that and not thinking of where that money's gone. And a lot of that is not going to any good
Right.
causes. It's not going to a social cause. It's not changing the lives of those who have been impacted by mass incarceration and other things. So,
Hmm.
and addictions. So I love that they are doing what they're doing, and it's so when you're spending your money, it's bigger than you. It is
Yes.
definitely bigger than you.
Definitely.
And thrifting is a beautiful thing, and I absolutely love the benefit of thrifting. And you've shared so much with us tonight, Tiffany, on how to thrift, how thrifting is a part of is a passion that's a part of your purpose, and that's led you into a business that also aligns with your purpose. So you've given us some huge tips, some great gems, some wonderful takeaways. So if you're just now joining, you missed a beautiful conversation with our featured guest, Tiffany Burgess, also known as the Vintage Lady. You always can go back and hit replay and hear this full conversation and get all those nuggets and takeaways. Thank you so much for always joining and supporting. And Emily said that there's some great tips, lady. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much, Emily, for
Thank
joining
you.
and supporting. But Tiffany, we want to also continue to support you, and we want to know how we can support you. So let us know how we're able to support the Vintage Lady.
Yes. So you can definitely support me by following my social medias. I do have a Facebook and an Instagram. Facebook, it is Tiffany Burgess, TiffanyBurgess, like on the screen. And then my Instagram, my IG is the underscore vintage lady. So definitely follow, see what's coming. I've tried to have lives. I tried to do just some content, put out different tips.
Mhm.
Then also connected to my ministry, doing prayer and intercession brunches and conferences. So please stay connected, and definitely follow me.
Absolutely. So Tiffany does lives where you can purchase some of her items right here on Facebook. So you need
Yeah.
to connect with her and follow her. As she stated, here again are her social media handles. Make sure you snapshot that right now so that you have that. Make sure you support and see all the beautiful pieces that she does and she resells. And they're fair pricing. It's not like price gouging. They're fair
Yeah. No.
prices, beautiful items. They're one of a kind pieces. You'll definitely be inspired by them. But more importantly, you are supporting somebody's purpose. And as we talked about it, this is a passion and a business that aligns with her purpose. And so we always want to connect with people that we can relate to and we feel that there is some form of connection to it. And that's a way to do it is by supporting her lives, following her, even if it's just a share, even if it's a like for the encouragement. But again,
Yes.
she does prayer, she does events, and also she's a personal shopper. So if you don't have the connection to be right next to her,
Yes.
you can reach out to her and be like, this is what I'm looking for. This I'm looking
Hmm.
for this color combination and how can I find it? Or I'm looking for a skirt and this color or this type of style. How can I put it together? So
Yes.
she can be a virtual shopper for a personal shopper
I
for you. It
definitely
doesn't have
can.
to be face to face. So you can definitely do virtual personal shopping. You can take her along with you to your thrift store.
Yes.
You can call her possibly. You can connect with her, give her, take some pictures. She can give you some ideas. I mean,
Yes.
technology has given us so many ways to connect, stay connected, support, monetize, all these different things,
Yes.
Tiffany. So I may have just hopefully
Mhm.
increased
Yes, you
your
did.
interest and,
Definitely personal. Yes.
so
Definitely personal
virtual personal
shopping.
shopper.
You
Yes.
can DM me. I am available and I love to do it. So
Yeah.
if you have questions, if you have ideas, if you want to suggestion of an outfit, what should I put with this? I am here for that. So definitely connect with me.
I love it. This conversation has been beautiful. I learned so much, and I hope you all did too. Thank you so much for joining Chats with Chantla. If you know somebody that aligns with this platform that's here to build, connect, and collaborate, make sure you reach out to me, and they could be a featured guest on our next episode of Chats with Chantla. So we'll be back next Monday at 7 p.m. doing a live with another featured entrepreneur, or business partner, or someone just who's having a beautiful conversation. So make sure you connect and you continue to watch. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful night. Bye. Oh,